Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm so sorry for delaying more videos. I've just been so busy with doing these survey stuff every day, and it's just been very stressful because I gotta wait to get my Social Security money by the end of the week or something like that. But it's coming up pretty soon, the end of the week. It's already the middle of the week now, but I wanted to return to you for this book review. The first book that I got to read of Deltora Quest, The Forest of Silence. Yes, I have the original copy of it from Emily Rada. And overall, I'm going to discuss what I read for all 16 chapters, which the book is about 131 pages long, and let you know my thoughts on the book in its entirety. So let's dive into The Forest of Silence Deltora Quest book review. So basically, it explains about the first part of the book is where it introduces the city of Deltora. Um, it's called the city of Del, and then you run into two characters, Endon and Jared, and both of them. Endon was the king, soon to be because his father passed. But there was more to explain about that. And then Endon, King Endon meets his wife. Um, he marries later on, of course, after Jared leaves because Endon thinks he's lost his stuff, and Jared was asking him to put the belt on Endon, and Endon refused and listened to Prandon's words. And Prandon's words were lies and deceit, and he was obeying a different kind of master, not his king, of course. He was using his king just to get to the belt of Deltora. So basically, the first part of the story is you get introduced with the characters for the start of it, and then it throws you in the rest of the book. And overall, it's a pretty good book from what I read. It's a really good book, actually. One of my favorites in the series. I enjoyed this read for sure. It took me a little bit to get done with it, but I got done with it. I know I'm going to be moving on to the Lake of Tears after this. But it's overall a pretty interesting read. But to get back to what I was trying to explain, Brandon does serve the Shadow Lord. You see an explanation when you read the book. And overall, it's definitely a book worth reading. It's something for like teenagers and all that. This book is, but it is an interesting read from what I read through. Not listened, but what I read through. And you get explained about Leaf and Barda and Jasmine in this book, and they're fighting a knight called Gorl, I think his name is, who has the topaz, the first gemstone, the first gem that goes on the belt of Deltora, because Brandon basically these birds or whatever kind of scattered all the gems and that go to the belt of Deltora in different places where no one could find them, and the most treacherous places that no one would be able to go to. So no one would, like, people would be afraid to go to in this book, of course, but it's overall a very interesting read from what I read through, and I had a good time reading it. I spent most of my nights finishing this book, and I got done with it last night, and I enjoyed how it ended for the first book. And overall, it continues on to the next book, which is The Lake of Tears, which I will be reading that. And I probably will be buying some other Deltora Quest spin-off books too later on. But I haven't decided yet. Probably be able to find it at a bookstore or something like that. They have a bookstore at my local library that I could probably go to, but I don't know how much it'd be. because I do want to find the Harry Potter books there and start reading those again. But overall, from what I read with Deltora Quest: The Forests of Silence, if I were to give it a score, I'm feeling a 9 out of 10. It's a really strong book. It definitely executed very well from what I read through, and I had a good time reading this book. It's definitely a very interesting read. Would I say it's like the best of the series? I think it's very strong for the start of the series to introduce the characters, and then you go into the story in the second part of the book where you get introduced to the actual main character, Leaf. But it overall did very well from what I read through. So, The Forest of Silence was definitely an interesting read. It took a little bit to get done with this book, like I said, maybe like a week or so. But I did get done with it, so I'm glad I read it, and I will be reviewing The Lake of Tears, and you'll see a book review for that in the month of November. But overall, yeah, 9 out of 10 for Deltora Quest: The Forest of Silence. I hope you enjoyed this book review that I wanted to surprise you with. And I will have the Serge Tankian covers, compilations, and collages review coming out as soon as I can. It's just been a very busy week because I've had to make some money doing surveys. You know how it is, trying to get money to get groceries every day. It's been a little tough, but we've gotten by somehow. So, luckily, we've gotten by for most of the week. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this book review for Deltora Quest: The Forest of Silence, and thank you guys for watching.